Hey everybody, this is Carl back again for another well, it's not a movie review, but it's more of a discussion topic because I just did a movie review of the 2009 film The Ugly Truth, which should be on my YouTube channel at this point, youtube.com/talking of Carl. Follow me on links in the description below. And if you like uh videos like this and other major topics I have on the channel, please leave a like. Greatly appreciate it. And so after my review of The Ugly Truth, I really want to have like a separate discussion with the themes of the film. Excuse me. And it's like ahead of its time, honestly. In terms of like this man versus woman, red pill feminism type of thing that's been carrying on in the past few years, this movie really spoke on a lot of stuff that is so still true today. It's just we probably glossed over it or scoffed at it or laughed at it, didn't think much of it back then. Looking back on now, the points it was making there has only made it more prevalent and relevant to this day, because uh men have, by and large, at least average men I should say, because top 20% of dudes are winning in this game. They don't even care one way or the other, as long as they getting like women, vying after them, and they can just have their pick of the litter. They don't care one shape or form. And of course, thing with hypergamy is the real thing. It's just a natural thing, not something that guys by and large, because we understand, yeah, girls want like the best dude, but it's fine, but not all of them qualify for like that top 20% dude. Not everybody's gonna land a Brad Pitt type. Not everybody's gonna land a Quavo. You know, it's you probably looking for an Usher, R&B singer. You might just land an Usher down the road at your local church, and he will probably treat you fine. But most girls tend to just look over the 80% of the guys who might treat them well, or even like I'm pretty sure they got a slew of men in their friend zone who would probably treat them well, but they don't uh trigger those particular attraction traits from guys they want. Because of course, why wouldn't a girl want a Drake? But do you qualify for a Drake? That's the question. Not many women would, and they completely ignore the fact that a Drake type, or it doesn't need to be an entertainer. It could be like a Wall Street dude or a top lawyer somewhere in LA or something like that. Those guys who, by and large, busted their butt to get to the top of their field, because you don't know, those kind of guys would, they had the, in their youth, in their heyday, they weren't getting probably like the pick a little girls, because in terms of, because a lot of girls like to chastise guys who like, to hook up with 20 something year olds. And it's like, well, they ain't messing around with that peer group because like, because guys like young chicks, I mean, sue us. Young adult chicks, mind you. Some girls like to conflate like that and call them a P word and everything like that. But girls want those guys, but those guys have to bust their butt to get to that point, so that way they can have a bunch of girls wanting to like hook up with them, and go on trips with them and be in those scenes or be that it girl, the arm candy or whatever like that. So a lot of girls just tend to like play the game essentially, because as I mentioned in my review early, because like this character Mike Chadwick points out a lot of stuff that to this day is just seems like has not changed and probably only gotten worse. Girls have been like, you know, getting asked out by tons of guys ever since they start to develop in their early years. And because all they have to do is, you know, for the most part, sit back and wait for the men to come to them. And of course, lots of guys want them. And of course, they can sleep with the top 20% of dudes. It doesn't need to be, he can be like a drug dealer, but he gotta be like, you know, that bad boy, which is constant with a lot of girls, even though so many of them know later in their lives, like, he's not good. That type of guy isn't ideal for you, but because he's, you know, it's like the whole Beauty and the Beast thing. You want to be able to tame that beast and make it worth something. It's kind of idiotic. You're putting your all, you're wasting your time into a guy like that, which is not good. So when he treated you wrong one too many times, now your mind is warped and you're crying on TikTok like, I gave him everything, and it's like these men ain't worth nothing. No, you gave him all to the wrong guy and you didn't check his character. You look at his surface level credentials, but you didn't check for his character. Or you just got tired. But here's the thing. You curved too many dudes that would have been a viable candidate, because you look at settling like as a negative thing. It's not really settling. You're meeting a person in your lane that would treat you right. Sure, he might have a dad bod. He doesn't need to be excessively ripped. It'd be great for him to, you know, make sure he goes to the gym every once in a while to maintain his health, but he doesn't necessarily need to be ripped of a person. He just needs to be able to take enough of a good care of himself so he can be on this earth for a long time. He doesn't need to be a stockbroker somewhere. He just need to be able to have a job and be able to take care of himself to be like, you know, a viable candidate to, because guys, once we get into the working force, we want to be able to scrounge up enough money so we'll be able to take care of ourselves and hopefully a family later. Because girls don't tend to know what the guy wants in a situation. They think like, at least some of them, not everybody. Men want to be able to, like you said, average dude, just want to be able to walk up to a girl, you know, introduce themselves. It's tough enough as it is. So a guy just walk up to a girl he thinks is pretty and just say, hey, I'm so and so, so and so. I saw you across the way. I like to be able to take you out sometime. And of course, guys tend to get rejected on the front end of things. It tends to happen. A guy who has a healthy mindset will be able to take that in stride and move on. It stings a bit, but it's better than left wondering if you would have talked to a girl, how it would have worked out. It hurts a lot more. But women don't tend to get like the CVS guy a chance if he wants to, you know, talk with you. He can be as cordial. It doesn't even matter like if he like talking like, of course I wouldn't advise a guy to be like trying to spit game or some kind of stupid lines, but just be real with her. And a girl in turn should be at least open to the idea. But it's just like a struggle in a way. Men, at least the average man, you know, he doesn't have the proper tools in order to navigate this dating system. Girls are a little bit more hip to the game. They're able to have like navigate through this dating scene as freely as possible, wasting their good 20s fool around with all these BS dudes that isn't worth much. But by the time they hit 30, then like, you know, not saying they're grown ugly and or anything like that, but it's just like you ain't getting the same level of attention as you used to. And then like after you had your fill of dudes, now you say like, oh, I'm gonna settle, but I'm not saying like, you know, you won't end up with a dude, but it's like you're wasting your good years on crappy dudes when you could have just like been satisfied with, you know, the one guy like that you curved like or friend zone years ago, and you wonder like, oh, where all the good men at? Well, you curved them for a decade because you messing around with the Chad Tyrone type of dudes who, and that's why I'm a big component of having the male figure in your life. Sure, the mom might have, you know, fell out with the dad or something or other, but it behooves the mom to make sure the dad is still in their life and not try to push it out of the life or put in the kid's head that the dad ain't nothing but garbage, blah blah blah. No, maintain the father figure in the life, or at least if the guy didn't run off when a woman got pregnant or anything like that, have some type of male figure in your family, so that way if you meet with a guy and he seems like a pretty decent dude, before it gets to anywhere, have him meet the man or men in your family to check this dude, to see what he's about, ask him enough questions to get a feel for this dude. Not, there's no such thing as a perfect guy. He has to at least check enough of the boxes for the uncle or the grandfather and father to say like, this dude seems all right. He just need to probably fix a couple of things, but he seems like legit enough for you to take it to the next step with him, wherever the case may be. So that way you don't feel like you put your all into the wrong dude and get jaded at the end of the road. You hopefully will have like a long lasting relationship with a guy, but you gotta stop looking for this perfect unicorn of a dude. Like, you know, you gotta be fine with him not making six figures or have 6 abs or 6 inches. You gotta be fine with that. Settling is not a bad thing. In this film, Gerard Butler's character Mike Chadway points out several things that a guy, you know, guys are simple. Men don't like being emasculated. It's not saying like, oh, you can't handle a woman. First of all, a man should not need to be able to handle a woman. That's not his job. When he meets you, you should already be a pleasant woman to be around with. He doesn't care how much money you make as long as you're a decent person to be around with. You want to be able to feel like, you know, you be able to be cool to be around with, be able to talk with, be pleasant, and stop making it seem submissive as like a bad thing. It's just being agreeable. I know I didn't change like the title thing. I clearly put in like the what the title of this discussion video is gonna be, man. Men need to be able to feel like, you know, he's the man of the relationship. He should be able to count on. Because like, sure, you can make more money on it, but don't like be smug about it. Never criticize. No man like to be nagged, you know. But that is a little iffy right now. It's like man should be able to handle growth and change and be better. But anyway, laugh at his stupid jokes. Yeah, be able to laugh at his, whether it's funny or not. A guy should be able to feel like, oh, I can, be around this girl. She's inviting. It's like I can make a corny joke and it should be like the funniest thing in the world to her. Doesn't matter if, you know, his friends or whatever entourage finds it funny. It matters that you find it funny. I remember from the episode of American Dad that it was like a lesson that Stan learned where his wife makes these corny jokes that at first seems embarrassing, but later at the end of the episode, he's like, other people might not find it funny, and he's telling them like, get hip, it's funny. Just making sure that person, your partners, he wasn't making sure like you prop each other up. Men are visual. We like, we are drawn to women because of how they look. If the way their jeans like curve their behind, the way their brassiere is like prop up the boobs, the way their hair look, or whatever. It invites guys to try to, because guys are the initiators. We typically are the ones that come to a girl to ask you out. So you don't need to be half naked. What you need to be is just dress casually, because you already got the natural form to accentuate your body. You just need to be classy, not assy. Don't talk about your problems, because guys by and large don't care. It's like, because guys want to be able to, if you come to them with problems, we want to be able to be the problems that we want to fix, because our natural instinct is like, oh, something wrong with your car. Oh, I'll do my due diligence and make sure to take that car to the mechanic so I can make sure you're good when you're on the road, so you won't be left stranded or whatever. Guys won't care about the issue you have with your coworker, Sheila, because she was bitchy one day. We don't care. That's what your girlfriends are for. Vent to them. That kind of thing. This is simple. It's like, he puts all this stuff. Now, this day and age, it might come across like crash or chauvinistic or whatever like that. It's like, oh, you don't care about women. It's like, it's not that. Guys have a simple view in life. Because girls, I'm sorry, you tend to be over dramatic on a lot of stuff. Some stuff are just seems big and bombastic at the time. I'm pretty sure after an hour or a day, you care less about it. Guys compartmentalize. It's like, what needs to be focused on more so than others, or others can be handled later. There's this line about, when they bring up about Mike, hey, what happened would it led you to this point of view. Now, this in this day and age would seem like a gotcha moment, but it doesn't necessarily mean there needs to be something wrong in a particular relation, like with a particular guy. Like, oh, he must, like, like, who hurt you attitude. It's like, nobody necessarily need to be hurting anybody. It's just that something that guys over time, because we don't just come together and talk about sports all day. We do share stories, and things tend to show patterns, and we pick up on that eventually. It's like, oh, man, just talk about boobs in football. They don't know any better, so we can do whatever we want. It's like, no, we're more nuanced than that. Got A, B, C, and D come together and know it's like, oh, B is having trouble with his girl. Yeah. And C is like, oh, yeah, I remember back in high school, a girl acted just like that. And so, over time, things tend to, show patterns of certain women's behavior. And a lot of girls can tend to be codependent, unfaithful, depressed, narcissistic, phony, or just generally don't like the guy for whatever dumb reason that, might give them icks, which is like, so like I said, it gotten worse over the years. A girl can't just disregard a guy for something that makes sense anymore. like he asks her out on a date, but he doesn't have a job in order to pay for the date. So yeah, that's grounds for like, yeah, that's not a good thing. But a girl can disregard a guy because he got yellow socks on or something. I don't know. It's always dumb reasons. And not always, but the vast majority, it's always seemed to be dumb reasons to disqualify a guy outright. Because a lot of women want that perfect unicorn of a dude that, if he does exist, it's probably 5 of them out of the entire planet. And most of which are probably either in relationships, or others might be gay, or just plain the field and don't want to be married at all. But they all want that particular guy, but they don't want to settle with Derek the mechanic. You know, Derek the mechanic could give her a decent life, treat her well, loves her to the end of time, will walk through a hell of bullets for her. Because a guy, when he invests in a woman, and he's like, he ticks enough of the boxes. Guys know we grade on the curve. As long as a girl ticks enough of the boxes, we're good. We don't want, we don't necessarily want a one woman. We're perfectly fine to settle with Batgirl, and we will be good for life, and we will die for Batgirl, because Batgirl isn't, bitchy. She isn't nagging. When the guy gets home, she isn't hitting him with a bunch of problems all at once as soon as he walks the doorway. He lets like the guy chill for 30 minutes to an hour, decompress after a hard day of work, because guys have to fight go out there and fight the world. Well, not literally, but it's just like deal with with work and all this other stuff, and make sure the home front is dealt with, so it makes the girl's life a little bit easier. So when he gets home, she makes sure food's ready, or at least something is being ordered and delivered to the house, so that way he has like a nice meal, give him like something to drink, rub his back a little bit. Doesn't necessarily need to be all in his face. Just likes to know that his girl's around. Doesn't need to be in the same room all the time, but knows like his girl's home. Like she's there, but she's not in his face, if that makes any sense. That is just like peace to him. Women talk a lot about like, oh, I'm his peace. Well, no, he's already had the peace before he entered a relationship. What you have to do on your end of things is make sure that you don't add drama or chaos to end that peace, to upend that peace. That's what you have to do. You already had the peace. And so guys, nowadays are starting to get the proper tools in order to navigate this landscape, because for far too long, girls been running the game like crazy. Or at least most girls, or the top 20% of dudes, been running this relationship game and diluting the brand, essentially. Where it's like making it harder for the top 80% of dudes to navigate this landscape in order to be able to even get a girl, let alone have sex with one. Guys want to be able to talk with a girl without her having a situationship. It's like it's tough enough for guys to have like a properly single girl that ticks enough of his boxes, that is leave it open. It's like you don't necessarily have to go with any guy who's nice to you, but just leave it open. It's like a guy in his like, it's like, oh, like I go 50-50 girl, because not every girl is like deserving of the princess treatment. No, not every girl is deserving of the princess treatment, but you still have the responsibility. Don't let like those gold diggers or bad girls out there ruin who you are as a man. If you're the type of man who makes sure the date is still paid, and I say the first date need to be like a full-blown full-course dinner deal, dinner meal or whatever like that. You just need to make sure that, oh, the first date, just casual, get to know you stuff over coffee or something like that. Inexpensive stuff. But you still pay for the date, at least the first 3 days, if there's a next date after the first one. Like I'm still like a decent guy. who knows his boundaries, who stands on business, like, you know, nice guys finish last kind of crap. But no, like if you're a nice guy, you're a nice guy because you are a nice guy. You're a gentleman because you are a gentleman. That's who you are at your core. That's how you was raised. That nobody should disrupt who you are like that, no matter what they choose to do. I'm a gentleman because excuse me. I'm a gentleman because I'm a gentleman. I'm a man because I'm a man. I got boundaries. I have things that I can budge on, things I cannot, and I'm honest at least, you know. You should be honest all the time, but like there's gonna be occasions where you might have to fill a couple of things, but you know what I mean. A guy stands on business. No girl wants a guy that she can walk all over, or people in general can walk all over, kind of thing. Ideally, that's what a girl should want. But they, like a Bill Burr comedy sketch points out, like how girls like treats, you know, equality like it's a buffet where they pick out the stuff that they like that only fits for them. But a girl, no, in her heart, she wants to be able to a guy who can stand on his business, even when it comes to laying like a boundary towards her. And it's like, so he's a gentleman through and through, no matter what the situation is. And then flip effect, a girl should be a lady, no matter what kind of guy she's dealing with. You know, it's like, you know, be nice and cordial and feminine all the time. Not because like I'm doing it for the right man or if a guy deserves it. No, do it because that's you. The right man will come along and peep that and use to use some discernment, just like it's up to a guy to use some discernment on what kind of person you might be dealing with. That's why you need the tools in order to be able to act on that discernment, and then have people in your family double check your work so that way you don't feel like you're wasting your time on a know nothing person. I love this movie because it's something that like it still rings true to today. And it's a shame that it gotten so bad because, like, you know, there's a guy, you know, named Cameron Samuels who passed away like a few years ago. Gerard Butler's characters seemed like you know, that version of a guy way back then, before, you know, this whole man versus woman thing even like really got out of hand. It's just telling girls what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And there's too many simps and too many women all sit there calling, you know, too many girls, thinking like, oh, it's like, oh, you're perfect the way you are. Oh, it's all him. It's not you. Like, you didn't do nothing wrong, girl. Because the simps are the ones that's thinking like, oh, I can, you know, play at, you know, the nice guy, or, you know, be that guy who would like, oh, it's not him, it's not you, it's him, because he wants to get something from you. And that's not the type of guy you should have in your friend zone, or a friend in general anyway, because he wants something from you. A real friend will tell you, whether it's a man or a woman, will tell you like it is. It's like, girl, you know all that, the guy is a scumbag, don't waste your time with him. You probably should dress a little bit more casually, not like, you know, like you're just walking away from a strip club. You're inviting the wrong attention. And like, a real friend doesn't care how that makes you feel, because you might feel a little hurt in the moment, but in the long run, you will respect that person for that honesty. You don't need to be brutally honest, because it's the right way to being honest without being just outright just an asshole. But that's the things that have been lost on, because, you know, a lot of women over the years have been like, you know, told there's nothing wrong with them, they're perfect the way they are, they don't need any type of improvements or need to bring anything to the table, because, oh, you're on the table. No, you know, if you're the table, you're not IKEA, you're the busted up thing that a guy found on the street. Because a guy wants a woman that he feels like he invested the, you know, right time and money in, because, you know, any relationship is an investment. And a guy doesn't need like the perfect woman, he just need like a a girl that comes, check enough of his boxes, doesn't invite too many drama in it to make the relationship work, hopefully long term. And if you screw over too many of these 80% of the decent dudes, then you will end up turning them more into the dogs that you claim you hate. And it is like another thing they mentioned in the film that I mentioned in my movie review a few minutes ago, where it's like, you know, some women make us believe that they're the victims. Like they act like men just, you know, some men break their hearts for sport, but they say they want romance and true love, but all they really want is a checklist. Is he perfect though? Is he handsome? Is he a doctor? If there's a man who might fit that criteria, women aren't sleeping with that guy. He's sleeping with the calculated set of vital choices of a guy. They choose money over substance, looks over soul, polish over principles. And that's still true to today. And it's like they don't peep the guy's character. That's why you got you know, baggage and, like, you know, too many bodies, which most guys don't typically would care for. If you know, too many Tyrones in your life, where it's like you could have avoided all that stuff. Because sure, maybe you don't have the discernment, but it's ideal that you bring, if you feel in a particular guy, make sure you bring him to meet like your father or whatever male figure you have in your family to double check your work. Because that way, I'm not saying it's like a surefire pitch perfect solution, but it definitely minimizes the chance of you ending up in a bad situation. That way, like, you can take the advice of that male figure in your life and say, like, hey, he got too many cons over his pros. Not ideal for you to, you know, be in this a relationship with this guy. Therefore, it behooves you to listen to said relative. It's like, okay, I got dead this relationship, so that way you don't waste your time and your body to a guy that isn't worth it. But if the flip of that, if the man in your life says, like, okay, you got a list of good pros, there's a few cons here you need to work on, but by and large, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't pursue a guy like this. So that way, because the woman says, like, I have trouble finding a guy that can properly lead me and everything like that. No, if a guy checks enough of your boxes, the family double check your work, and he seems like a solid dude, he loves you, he respects you, he's not, you know, SAing you, all this other stuff, and he got a good character, a good head on his shoulders, then yeah. If a guy like that is in your life and he says something like, I don't know, I don't want you dressing like that, the next words out your mouth should be, okay, babe. It should be back talk. Guys don't have to always have to explain themselves. You should be able to trust that he has your best interest at heart and the best interest at heart for the relationship. That you dressing a certain type of way isn't conducive to the health of the relationship. And it's like, instead of giving him back talk, you just say, okay, you should just automatically trust that he has your best interest at heart, because he would, like, know better for that. Because you be following his lead, because he would know better. Imagine like a general in a army that has insubordinate soldiers who questions every little order that he gives. It's like, why I gotta put my gun like this all the time? Why can't wear like my fatigues, you know, only sometimes? Why I got, like, no one wants to hear why. Just do what he says, because he has the best interest of the group, and it's better for you in the long run. Same thing with in terms of relationship. If he's like a decent dude, he loves you, he respects you. So when he says something, just do it. He's not controlling you. He's not insecure. He's the opposite of that. And too many girls conflate those two for some odd reason. He loves you. So when he says, I don't want you going out at a certain point at night, or I don't want you going out at night at all, or to the club, or out with your, you know, ratchet girlfriends, Just say, all right, no argument. And he imagine the like the feeling he'll get, the fact that this girl doesn't give me any issues. When I say something, she just does it. And then in turn, it'll be beneficial for the girl, because like he might surprise you with something like, babe, you've been so great, girl. Like I like some of my friends have issues with their girlfriends and they nagging. It's like, I don't get that crap from you. It's like I'm treating you to a nice little weekend trip to, I don't know, Miami or whatever. It's like a nice little trip. You get like these nice gifts just because he acknowledges, he peeps that. Don't think like guys just like completely oblivious. He will take notice. That's like, and of course, talking to your guy helps, because it's not like he doesn't take your words not into consideration. He does, but you expect the guy to be the guy who lays down the law, to pull that trigger, to be the leader. He has to be the captain. He takes some advice from you, but he's the one that you expect to pull the trigger all the time. They mentioned in the movie, it's like guys don't like the idea of feeling emasculated. So you want your man to feel like a man. So no matter what kind of status you have as the female in the relationship, doesn't negate the fact that he's still the man in the relationship. He could be a mechanic and you can be a lawyer, but you will still make that mechanic feel like a man in a relationship. So because you expect him, like, because girls tend to like pick and choose, like when they decide if they want to be the female relationship, or when they want to do their womanly duties. But guys don't get that privilege. Guys doesn't say like, oh, are you gonna protect your girl if somebody break in your house? If she's the right girl, I would. No, you just do it because like I'm the man in my house. If somebody breaking in my house, I'm gonna lay down my life for this girl, because that is my responsibility in a relationship. If he doesn't do that, that's not a guy for you. You should dead the relationship immediately. Because guys, that natural instinct is to protect, whether it's from outside forces or inside forces. That is our biggest job. And a girl should adhere to that leadership. They should respect that. Not just because it benefits them. It's just across the board. Respect that. I just want to talk about this feeling more in depth, because it rings so true to this day and age in terms of man v woman kind of thing. I don't really care to label it like that, but it's the only way to make sense of why I decided to talk about this, because it's like, it's crazy how things gotten worse in terms of female dynamics and male dynamics over the years. And it's just so one-sided that benefits the woman all the time, that is all about the woman's needs, and damn anything that a guy would probably want in the end of things. And it's not, it isn't, you're talking about like equality, it's not equal then. It's just like, a guy is left holding the bag while, most women are just like living high on life to do like, like, oh girl, he's telling you can't go out like that. Oh, he doesn't love you, or he must be insecure. And then you throw that at most guys, and he's like, okay, because he doesn't want to look like an a-hole in this. Instead of like handling on business, like, this is not going to work if you just going to do whatever you want in this kind of situation. And it's just like you want the guy to stand on his business. You're supposed to respect the guy. Clearly, he's not the right guy for you, and you don't probably deserve this good guy, because if he says, I don't want you posting butt pics on Instagram anymore, or I want you to cancel your Instagram, period, because you got a good guy now, you don't need to keep this, because you're essentially fishing for more eyeballs on you, and you're gonna have a bunch of dudes trying to DM you or whatever like that. It's a whole mess. You should not want that anymore. You have a good guy, supposedly. But it's not saying like guys don't have the issues, but we've been hearing about how guys are like, like, you gotta have a job if you want to be with me, or I don't want no scrubs. We've been hearing that since the freaking 80s, and arguably there's a proper assessment. Guys should at least have a freaking job to take care of, at least have the capabilities to take a girl out on a date, at the very least. So guys understood, okay, we only adapt to the market. If a girl says, I ain't trying to have no date with a guy with no job, okay, guys, by and large, start making sure they're getting jobs. Or if the girl says, I ain't trying to have no man if he's not wearing a 3-piece suit, bunch of dudes gonna be buying a lot of 3-piece suits. Guys will do a lot to get the girl, so we'll adapt to it. So it behooves a woman on her side of things to make sure she does things like, if you want princess treatment, you gotta behave in a certain way that garners that that respect to treating you like that. And I just want to talk about this. It's kind of like, it's so much going on right now. There's so many podcasts talking about relationships and everything like that, but it just seems to me that over time, in hopes of trying to garner women to get their equal share of stuff, it leans too far to them to now it ain't about equality. It's more so either get even or want to be like men. And it's like, no, you're not like men. Guys, there's certain things that guys can do that you women cannot do, and vice versa, because guys can't just get on yachts just because they might look good or they might be young or whatever like that. Guys don't get flown out or get on OnlyFans to show off their feet to get $1,000 to pay their bills. Guys don't get that privilege. Guys don't get invited into clubs for free, like how like those ladies drink free for Tuesday nights or whatever like that. Guys don't have that. Guys pretty much are the one buying the yacht to invite girls on that. Guys are the ones that bust their butts to get money to pay for girls drinks at the club. So you girls benefit on that kind of stuff based off your looks by and large. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. You could be a doctor or you can work at McDonald's. Doesn't matter. The onus is on the guys to be able to work at a job, build something to earn respect and the privilege and the status, which is grueling. Girls don't have to do that. It's cool that you do, but it's not something that guys really care about. Like, we don't care about your 401k. We don't really care. As long as you're pleasant to us, you're decent looking, we could give a damn about like what kind of job that you have, honestly. But it's something I want to talk about. I didn't want to carry on for too long about this. I just something that's like, it's crazy from reviewing this movie, which should be up on my YouTube channel pretty soon. I just like, wow. This movie is just like, speaks volume to this day, and it's crazy. Things has only gotten worse since then. Is like I said this many times already. This movie is ahead of its time, and I highly recommend you guys checking out the movie The Ugly Truth, starring Katherine Heigl and Gerard Butler. But it was like a Red Pill movie before Red Pill was even like a thing. And it's crazy that there's a relationship dynamics where you like it or not, it's been straying onto the woman's favor for all this time in terms of relationship stuff, and a lot of men been left holding the bag for far too long because they didn't have the proper tools to navigate the dating world. And unfortunately, a lot of guys, at least average guys, have been trying to maneuver around landmines for so long, and it's like we didn't have the tools to, we've been guessing work until we have to go through trials and tribulations and getting beat up on the front end of things, rejected hundreds of times before we eventually get it right. While girls been being the movers and shakers for the most part, and get into these little inner circles where they mess around with the top flight guys of the world. And they decide to settle when they had their little field and fun. But there is like if a glass half full kind of situation, at least the equal in terms of life, or at least the balance of life. If a guy does his duty and work at it, whatever job that he's doing, and or at least cultivating some type of status or working at whatever he's doing in life and building his credibility, working out at the gym, building his money, whereas like business or entertainment or whatever the case may be. So when he's approaching his late 30s on high, he has become like the big deal on campus now. So now he will have his pick of the litter on the back end of things, where he chooses to settle down with a girl or not. At least in my perspective, that guy has earned that choice because he busts his butt when he's been curved a lot of times in his younger years, because in his 20s, you don't have much. So girls will not like look at you twice. But when you build something for yourself, then even though you got curved in your younger years, that you got like 3, 4, 5, or whatever, how many girls want to like come to you. And then on the back of the things, if girls don't ain't pick right from the jump in their 20s, and they've been wasting their youth fooling around with a bunch of these Tyrones and Chad dudes. So now by the time we get to that 30 on end, they're trying to like, oh my God, I'm scrambling because now I want to start a family and all this other stuff. And like, well, where all the good guys at? Well, you curved them too long. I'm not saying like girls shouldn't play the field. You're free to do that, but it behooves you to like know that there is a time limit. Unfortunately for you, it isn't for a guy. Like, you get, excuse me. You get like the whole world's at your fingertips as a young woman, especially if you took good care of yourself. The world's at your fingertips. You're gonna do whatever you choose to do, but mind you, after the first couple of dudes that you might fool around with in college or whatever like that, probably make sure that okay, I like this particular dude. I want to settle with this dude. He seems okay, and start like a family, right away, because wait too long, it all comes crumbling down, and guys will just always gonna want younger relatively. He doesn't want to deal with a girl who's probably messing around with over like a dozen dudes before she hit 31. And it's like it just telegraphs like, oh, this girl doesn't really respect herself. So why would I invest in a girl like that who doesn't, prove that, she isn't like other girls? And of course, yeah, I know you said like some guys, like my advice to guys is like, just, don't stop yourself from approaching girls, because girls still like being approached. Just be respectful. Don't come off weird. Make sure you have a good job. Take good care of yourself. Build something for yourself. Don't follow girls. Follow the money, and the girls will follow. That kind of thing. Because you lose a lot by chasing women. And a lot of guys don't get this type of advice in their younger years, and they get they get bit in the butt at the end, and it's not fun. So just cultivate your self-worth, and then the girls will follow. But don't stop yourself from, you see a nice chick at a bookstore or whatever like that, just approach her. The worst you can do is say no. If she does, move on. There's other hot women. There will always be hot women. It will never be plenty of hot men in the world. And that's a crazy thing. There'll always be hot women to the end of time. They're chucking them out every time they turn 18. They're always going to be like plenty of young hot women in the world that will probably be looking at you because you built something for yourself, and they will always just come to you, and you can just choose wherever one that might suit you. There will be a short supply of hot dudes, or that is worth their salt in the world, if they get already stashed up, or they're gay, or they're married, or just choose to play the field and not settle down at all. There's not many of them in the world. And a lot of girls do not even come to realize that until later in their life. It's unfortunate, but that's how, I guess, life equals out. But that's what I gotta say about that. But this movie, I do recommend you guys checking it out. It's just like screams like, it makes so much sense. It's one of the most realistic rom-coms out in the world. So I did my review on that movie, so you can check it out on my YouTube channel. Leave a like. I'll see you guys later on when I get back to FF7 Rebirth. Gotta make me some dinner because I'm getting kind of hungry, because I've been like working on these videos all day. So anyway, I will see you guys soon. Have a great evening if I don't, and hopefully I do. I'll be back to FF7 Rebirth later on, and of course I got all the I got like 24 walkthroughs already up on the channel, so you can check out my YouTube channel to check out all those other walkthroughs that I did. Anyway, I'll see you guys later, and look out in the next couple of days. I'll have my Superman comic book review prepared next week. So look forward to that. There's gonna be a lot of Superman reviews in the next month, so excuse me, get kind of stuffed up. The weather's been crazy, but look out for those. And if you love Superman, like I said, look out for those. I got a lot coming up. So anyway, have a good night. I'll see y'all soon. Peace out.